Well, hello. It's Andryanna here, and I'm so thankful that you're joining me for this episode of the Juggle is Real podcast. Now, I was doing my scroll, doing my thing, and I happened upon some posts by Mabel's Labels who are celebrating their 21st anniversary of being in business this very week. And I thought to myself, gosh, that is A, incredible, B, so inspiring. And C, it reminded me of this amazing conversation that I had a little while back with Julie Cole, one of the co-founders of Mabel's Labels. Now, she is a best-selling author. She is a award-winning entrepreneur, a sought-out speaker, also a mom of six. Her eldest has autism and has succeeded now into adulthood. And of course, as the founder of Mabel's Labels, we had a lot to talk about in terms of the juggle being real. So I'd love to share this conversation once again. If you heard it before, I want you to tune in with a fresh perspective, maybe get some new nuggets or some reminders that will help you. And if this is your first time listening, buckle up because it is a great conversation. Let's dive right in. Hey, I'm Andryanna Gonco, and this is the Juggle is Real podcast. As I share my ongoing journey from experiencing burnout to leading a more mindful and intentional life with better balance, I hope you feel seen, that you realize your worth, lighten your load, and prioritize your own needs. As we hear from leading experts and well-known faces in the wellness, entrepreneurship, education, and motherhood space, I hope you gain insights, proven practices, and learn actionable tools to help you enjoy the juggle of work, family, and everything in between with a little less stress and a lot more ease, joy, and fun. Most of all, I hope you find what you need to simplify, streamline, and supercharge your own journey of better balance and self-love. Are you with me? Let's get started. This episode of The Juggle is Real is sponsored by Bic Easy Reach. Did you know 6 in 10 Canadians have been frustrated when unable to light a candle either because the wick was too low or their lighter wasn't working? And if you've been here for a while, you know that I'm all about finding ways to create more ease and less stress. That's why I'm happy to report that Bic is easing this pain point with its Easy Reach lighter. Whether it's creating an ambiance, celebrating a special occasion, or keeping your home smelling fresh, there are many candle lighting moments that take place throughout the year. The Bic Easy Reach lighter is the perfect lighter for any candle lighting occasion. It's safe, long-lasting, and the extended wand helps keep fingers away from the flame and allows you to light hard-to-reach places, such as low wicks. No more throwing away your favorite candle because you can't reach the last bit of the wick. This means you can easily enjoy those special moments that spark your zen with perfect candlelit ambiance. So as you simplify your routines, keep frustrations at bay, and your fingers safe with Bic Easy Reach. Easy Reach is available at Walmart, Canadian Tire, and Amazon. Now let's get back to the episode. Julie, welcome to the Juggle is Real podcast. I am so excited to chat with you today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited to be here. And I love the name of your podcast.
Yes. If anyone knows that the
Feels
juggle is real.
Yeah, very relatable.
Speaking to you. Yeah. And I like how you call it like the mother load. I think that's hilarious too. And you've got the Mabel load, you've got like Mabelhood, you've got all these things to chat about. Where I would love to just begin and just start things off right away. Can you just walk us through this journey going from lawyer to building a multi-million-dollar business from the quote unquote basement up?
Literally.
Right?
Yeah.
With 6 children, where are you today? Like, not to be here for the next, 5 weeks, but give us a rundown on this journey that you've been on so far.
Okay, for sure. So, Recover the Lawyer 12-step program. So what happened was when we started Mabel's Labels 20 years ago, at that point, you start your business for a couple of reasons. Our whys were one, there was a product missing from the market. So we thought, okay, there's a gap here. Let's fill it. And then two, at the time, my eldest child had just turned 3 and he received an autism diagnosis. So at that point, I really didn't think the traditional workforce was going to suit me. I wanted to be able to advocate for him, set up a program for him, get into all of his things. He also already had 2 younger siblings, so it was already a very busy household. So that's when I went to my co-founders, who happened to be my sister-in-law, and another friend who married a young uncle of mine. So we all met at university. And I said to them, hey, we've had this really good idea. What do you think? Is now the time? They're like, yeah, let's do this. And then we never looked back. And we started in my sister's basement, this grungy little basement. And we outgrew that basement, and we told her to buy a bigger house with a bigger basement. She did. So we went there, and we thought we'd be in that basement for about 5 years. We only lasted 2 years. And then we moved to where we are now in 2007. And at that point, it was a 5,000 square foot facility. Now we have about 20,000 square feet and 50 full-time employees. So it's really grown. And, as the business has grown, so have my children. My youngest is 13. They have a way of doing that. Babies don't keep. And it's interesting because now my son, who kind of was the reason we started, he's done really well. He's just graduated from university. He's got loads of friends. He's currently backpacking through Australia. He's got his license. He's a lifeguard. He's a black belt. Anyway, I often joke that, as Mabel's has grown, so is he. And on my deathbed, I'll say he's my life's greatest achievement. And the other 5 are okay too.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. It's beautiful. I mean, I have one of my 3 has some neurodivergence. And so I really can appreciate where you're coming from in, wanting to make a difference in the life of your family, in your own life, with your own well-being, but also in serving others and making a difference in the lives of others. So I think it's so beautiful. And also to be able to kind of look backward and see like this beautiful path that you've chosen to take and where it's led you. And these things that you're mentioning about, your son and all of your children, and celebrating 20 years, such an incredible milestone. I think that you can look back and you can kind of connect those dots, or perhaps, I don't know if you've ever just thought, well, what if I just, the fear of starting something new was just too great. I never pushed forward, and I worked 80 hours a week. I stayed in the path of lawyering and all of that thing. I think so many of us are navigating our own journeys of entrepreneurship and motherhood, or perhaps we do have a 9-to-5 and we're just like, oh, there's that idea, or there's that inkling, and we're scared, or I would love to know, like, what was that factor that drove you to pursue the business with your sister-in-law, with the other co-founder?
My sisters. Yeah.
Was it an idea? Did it just like pop up in the shower and you're like, okay, I have to do this? Was it driven out of necessity? Obviously there was a gap in the market. What were those fears you had to overcome? Did you keep your day job while doing this? Like, what was that? Did you have any resistance from your support systems? I feel like with your sisters, I mean, there's a lot of support there, but walk me through that part of it, because I think for many of us who are in the weeds right now, we're like, oh, I wish I could just pick myself up, get that overview, and know that it's going to work out in the end, right? But sometimes you can't see past that.
And sometimes you don't know. I mean, you have to be strategic. You have to, like, people kind of look at moms who start businesses as hobbyists, and we weren't hobbyists. I don't make labels for a hobby. Like, I've never done that. Right. Mm-hmm. And, and it was hard. Like when we left our jobs, like, I mean, I'm a lawyer, my sister's a teacher, there was a financial planner and a graphics print manager. And, we'd gone to school for a long time. I mean, I did an undergraduate, I did a master's, I went to law school, and people are like, and now you're starting a label company? Like, connect the dots for me. So you have to have a little bit of an appetite for risk. But for those who are in the weeds, I really do think I want to warn you about not romanticizing the life of entrepreneurship. It seems very hot right now. And people think, oh, book deals, speaking, TED Talks, conferences, all that. But I remember being pregnant with my 4th, and I was in that basement making labels till 2 a.m. And then, getting up with the kids at 6 a.m., doing getting Mac to all of his therapy, dealing with his little baby sisters, like all of that. And then going back to the basement and making labels too. it's not as glamorous as people think. It looks a lot like making labels in a basement until 2 a.m.
Yeah.
There's not like putting the kids to bed and grabbing a glass of wine and watching Netflix to chill for a bit, or scrolling on your phone, or, what, date night, what? Like and you have to manage your own expectations around that. And also your family. If your partner doesn't really know what it's going to look like those early years, then either the business will fail or the relationship will fail, because it's really not glamorous. But if you have some early indicators that, like, we felt we had some early indicators that we were going to make it. The market responded well. We did fill a gap. We were innovative, and it was kind of nice having 4 of us too, because then, we could divide and conquer. We could split up the workload. And also, when those like naggy thoughts, those doubts get in your brain, you had 3 other co-founders who were like, no, we got this. And then when one of them was having that naggy feeling of like, oh my God, what have we done? You'd be like, no, it's my turn to carry you now. Like, we got this, we can do this. So there was that, because the entrepreneurship journey, particularly in those days, 20 years ago, was lonely. There weren't online groups. There was no social media. There were networking events that, if you're a young person starting and a mom, like, it's hard to get out of the house, first of all, in the evening for an event, but also just to walk in a room and be like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. A lot of people aren't comfortable with that. So now, I mean, I still think it can be very lonely. I think it's like motherhood. I think motherhood and entrepreneurship, Absolutely. There are a lot of parallels. It can be very lonely. You can get in your head. It gets romanticized. We all know motherhood gets romanticized. And then you're like, what? I don't sleep. Yeah. My coffee's always cold. These kids, they're like pint-sized dictators. So, I think that both of these can be lonely places. And I always say your network is your net worth. And you really need to find those people to support you.
That's incredible. I love that you're saying, you know what, there are challenges, there's blessings, there's always a silver lining, but that doesn't mean that there's going to be roadblocks. That doesn't mean that, you're not going to be, tired at times or wanting to stop at times. I love that you were saying that you had, your core group that you all leaned on one another. And I can say that through my journey of entrepreneurship, like, I am part of what I call a mastermind group with a number of other women, and different industries, different levels, different, indicators of success and what have you. But it's like, we have that group that we can, this is that problem that I'm having right now, or this is how I'm feeling right now. And just the energy coming together I think it's really important. And it's like a 1-week Zoom call. And I'm so grateful for that,
It's very healthy. I think you're absolutely right. Like, these things, and I find, some people will say you should, and if you don't have a mentor, or if you can offer, like, I have formal mentoring relationships with people, because I feel like it is my turn to give back. But if you are starting out and you need a mentor, find an organization. I know through the forum, there's lots of places where you can get partnered with somebody. And again, that's using those networks, and no point in reinventing the wheel. You want to help people. People want to give back. So find yourself a mentor, a therapist, a coach, a mastermind group. For me, my peer mentors are the most valuable for me right now. I'm in a similar group of all like women who are like me, kind of similar age, similar spots, similar but non-competing businesses. And we basically just get together and be like, okay, what's a win? How can we support you? And what are your challenges right now? And then we can talk them through, because like I said, you can get in your head. If you're a solopreneur, you can turn things into things that are bigger. They can become so big in your head.
It's a roller coaster.
And sometimes you just need somebody in your group to be like, whoa, Nelly, that ain't so bad. You built it up. And it's the same. And that's where I think it's like motherhood. We can build things up like, this, the kid's acting like this. You make such a big deal. And it's like, they're fine. The kids are fine.
And that's great, because to stay motivated and to stay driven to succeed, I think, can also be a challenge. So what you're saying is amazing. Yeah. So this is a bit of a loaded question. And I know that you haven't always maybe had the perfect quote unquote balance, but how have you learned to support yourself? How have you learned to take care of your needs, Julie, and balance your priorities with family and with business life? Because, I think it's just this ongoing thing. So what have you learned? What are you doing for yourself?
So I'll say a couple of things here. One being that I think for the life that I lead, you have to have a certain personality. I'm not going to lie. Like you can't, if you like need a lot of me time in the traditional sense, I really would not recommend having 6 kids and starting a business. Like I really wouldn't like, and that's fine. Everybody should do what they can do. There's no, one child is perfect. 3 children is perfect. And you never know what you're going to get. Like you said, you've got a neurodiverse kiddo. I've got the whole gamut of wonderful, diverse kids, queer kids. I got it all. And they all have their own unique needs that I have to be there for, which is awesome. I love that. That's the fun of parenting for me. But I think as far as my self-care goes and how I've avoided burnout, yes, one, I do have the personality for this. My other thing, for some reason in those early days, and this is just dumb luck, I didn't need a lot of sleep. I managed to get by on very little sleep and I was okay. Some people aren't like that. Some people need their like solid 8 hours a night. If you're that person, you get that because you're not doing anyone any favors if you're not getting that. I think self-awareness and knowing what you need. And this was the thing too. I remember in the early days, people would try to tell me what I needed to do to take care of myself. And I realized soon enough that I am the best judge of that. How my self-care looks is different to somebody else's self-care, and that's okay. And I remember somebody bought me a massage because they're like, you need a massage, you're crazy, your life. And I went for my 1-hour massage, and the whole time I was thinking about all the things I could have been doing instead of being there. And that's okay. If you need the massage, go for the massage. I didn't need it. For me, my self-care looks different. It doesn't look like traditional self-care. I don't go get my nails done. I don't like that sort of thing isn't important to me, but I do love things like this, believe it or not, speaking to you fills my cup, sharing, connecting with other women entrepreneurs. I love that. So what might look like work for some people, to me, sometimes it's actually self-care. And when I stopped letting people project onto me what they think I should be doing, then I could just release that and just do what made me well.
Wow. Wow. That is, I love that. And I love that you're being authentic about it. And it's not like, oh yeah, I do this and I have a bubble bath or whatever.
Right.
And we could put so many different labels on what self-care should be. Yeah. But the main takeaway is that it's going to be very different and it's up to you to determine. So how did you become so self-aware is what I would love to know, because even for some of us now, the topic of self-care can be just like another thing to add on the to-do list. And it's like, I feel so guilty. I haven't done any self-care. And now I'm a bad human and I'm feeling bad.
I'm a bad entrepreneur. I'm a bad wife. I'm a bad mom. And now I'm bad to me too. Yeah.
Yes. So it's like, how did you gain that awareness? Or were you just like, I can just go and I'm feeling fine. And until maybe I'm not feeling fine, then I'm going to decide in that moment what I need. How did you discover what it was for you?
I do think that this is a really important topic because the rates of burnout in entrepreneurial women and mothers is so high. So I'm really glad that you're shining a light on this. I think for me, believe it or not, it probably came around the time after my son was diagnosed. And what I did at that time, I learned a very important lesson, which was I really just can't care what other people think. I just can't. And I remember the moment it hit me. So I was at the park and I had a newborn and I had a little toddler, Posey, and I had Mac, who had just been diagnosed with autism. And at that point on Mac's program, I was trying to teach him that if something was wrong, he needed to come to me. He didn't instinctively know that. So, and often kids on spectrum have a high threshold for pain. So I would like find him bleeding and be like, dude, what happened? And he wouldn't come to me. So I needed to teach him that if he's sick or hurt, he needs to seek out his mom because I need to make sure he's okay. So that was on his program and I was teaching him that. So I was at the park one day and Mac would have a little fall and I would go over, oh, Mackie boy, oh, you've had a fall. You need to come to mommy. Let me kiss your knee better. And then Posey would have a little fall and I'd look the other way because she would just look at me. If I looked at her, she'd start crying. So, I mean, and I knew all the other moms at the park were like, why does she care so much about this kid and not this kid? And in that moment, I'm like, I'm the expert on my kids. I know what Mac needs right now. And he needs me to go over and make a big deal to teach him that skill. And Posey needs me to look the other way so she picks herself up and keeps going. But I know the other moms would have been like golden boy and ignore child. And I just thought, I don't care. I'm the boss of my family. I know what's best. And in that moment, I also realized I'm the boss of me. And I know what's best for me too. So that was like a game-changing moment where I just was like, I got this.
Wow. Yeah. And I think sometimes it just happens out of necessity because there's no capacity for judgment. There's no capacity for worrying about what other people are thinking in that moment, or trying to, make nice and please everyone around you, when there are real issues and challenges that you have to take care of that are, you are, responsible to be nice and to be kind, but you are responsible for your children, for their well-being, for their health.
That's my priority. Everything. I don't care what you think. I don't like mom in the park with her coffee. Like, okay, I don't need to, and you have to always consider the source. Like, of course I care if my mother is upset about something I'm doing with my kids, like, or my sister has an opinion about something or upset her and I consider the source. If it's somebody I love and I respect their opinion, then of course that matters to me. But, it's like Babe Ruth says, the loudest boos come from the cheapest seats, right? Like that's, pay attention to who's not clapping when you're winning. You need to surround yourself with the right people. And, you made a point a few minutes ago that I just want to bring up again. And it was about, this romanticizing. And I think now in these times of social media, because you said like about the highlight reels, like some of us, we're seeing people's reels and we're seeing like they make the entrepreneurship thing look so fun. They make their children are always in white clothes and they look clean. And then, comparison is the thief of joy. So please just remember as you're on social media, perfect husbands, perfect children, they exist in Facebook, status updates, movies, and Insta stories and TikToks. They don't exist in real life. And if you find that, self-care can look like putting that phone down, getting Instagram off your phone, taking a social media diet because you're seeing people that are making you feel bad or feeling like your family's inadequate. And the other thing that's a great thing to do is unfollow. Like if you've got that auntie that you can't unfriend on Facebook because you can unfollow so her crap isn't ending up in your feed. If it gets you down, you cleanse that stuff. That's your space. You can own it. And that is important self-care. Absolutely. Watching what's up here. We got to watch ourselves physically. We got to watch ourselves mentally, emotionally, all that jazz, right?
Yes.
I'm a big fan of the non-dramatic exit. You don't have to make a big deal.
Irish goodbye.
Yeah, honestly, like if you tell the classic is like, I'm going off Facebook right now. It's like, just go. Yes. I'm going to clean up my friends list. Just clean it up. Just, it's all good. But you know what? The other thing that can look like self-care is the opposite. I see a lot of like mom influencers and I kind of am like, did they really find it that bad? I had a friend who unfollowed a bunch of them because she's like, they don't seem to enjoy parenthood and it's bringing me down. So it can be the opposite thing, like it's just too negative. You can curate that out just too, if that gets you down.
We don't have to add additional problems.
Exactly.
The squeaky wheel can get the grease. I absolutely understand. Or the person who is saying something that, there's a lot of opposing views that can generate a lot of interest. But yes, when we are looking internally, when we're thinking about, do I need to comment about what I think is right or wrong in someone else's life? Or, can I be supportive? Absolutely. But I don't have to, get it all, my panties all tangled and in a twist. Because I don't agree with someone else's opinion.
I say to my kids, you don't have to attend every fight you get invited to. Right?
Absolutely.
You can just keep scrolling.
Absolutely.
You can just keep scrolling.
So what I'd like to just talk about too, because you wrote a book. It is called Like a Mother. Amazing. I'm going to read this because I don't want to get it wrong. It's like a mother. There she is, birthing businesses. babies and a life beyond labels.
Yeah.
So working fills you up, but amidst everything that you've done, why did you feel it was important to put thoughts on paper?
Right.
What was the calling there? And tell us why we should be, hopping on Amazon, going to Indigo, getting this book. I would love to know a little bit more about your book.
You bet. Okay. So it launched in May. And I was delighted. It hit bestseller and it just won the Mom's Choice Award. So it's now an award-winning book. Thank you. So it's been on my to-do list to write this book because I really feel like I have a story to share. I've learned so much. And the book is just full of like business hacks, parenting hacks, life hacks. And it's just full of little lessons and it's an easy read. There's some takeaways. And the reason I wrote it then was because what happened? COVID happened, right? So suddenly I'm not jetting off to speak at conferences. I'm not going here. Like, my last International Women's Day, I was like LA, then back, then Palm Springs, then like I'm all over the place. But for a while there, I couldn't go anywhere. So I found I had that chunk of time and I thought, if I don't do the book now, when else am I going to get the opportunity? So I hunkered down and got the book done. A lot of women, as you know, picked up side hustles during the COVID. So my book was kind of my side hustle. It needed to get done. And that provided me the right time and the opportunity to do it. So I just
that creative outlet that you needed.
Yeah. And you know what? It's funny because I actually found the process harder than I thought I would. I thought it would come very easily to me because I'm a writer. I mean, I've been writing articles and blog posts for years, but there's something about the word count that can get a little overwhelming, but you learn the strategies too. It was like, no, I'm going to write about this and then dump it in a Google Doc. Then I'm going to write about this and then we'll piece the puzzle together. So it's not like you sit down and write once upon a time and then right? It says something comes
right.
Exactly. So you have to get into kind of the rhythm and the flow of that too. And I suggest anyone who's thinking about writing a book, like getting with the writer's circle, same thing, like a mastermind. Some people will just get on, will be like, we're going to write every morning from 6 till 7. They set up a Zoom and they all sit there and type and don't talk, but they're accountable to each other.
It's accountability.
Oh
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
And which can be hard also as an entrepreneur, a solo entrepreneur. You're like, I'm accountable to myself. And I remember though, people being like, oh, wow, so cool not having a boss. And I was like, actually, I've got my partners. I've got like the co-founders. I've got staff. I've got suppliers. I'm like, one boss doesn't sound so bad. I feel like I've got a lot of bosses now.
We're in many hats. Yeah. Responsible for a lot.
Yeah.
So with the book, then what is that main message that you're hoping moms hear or that people take away when we close that book? Like, are you just thinking like, now we can move on with so much more wealth of knowledge under our belts, or just the feeling of like, I can do it, or, it's what is that feeling, that main takeaway?
Like, I do give a lot of like productivity hacks. And a lot of that comes around your kids as well. Like I say no to my kids a lot. I'm not the kind of mom, if they forget their school lunch, I'm not going to bring it to school. It's a natural consequence. I have, and nobody's starving. Nobody's had scurvy. They can find a granola bar somewhere, I'm sure. But I can't spend my life chasing 6 kids around for forgotten items. And it's not punishment. It's just a natural consequence. So I say no a lot. And I give a lot of examples of that in the book. And I talk about, rather than having a to-do list, what's on your do not do list? What are you doing that you shouldn't be doing? Let's outsource that. Let's, see, can a kid do that? Is it time to get a virtual assistant? What are the things that I'm doing that I should not be doing? And just some really, really good productivity tips. But I think really my secret sauce, and I think this comes across in the book, is that perspective. The only thing that you can control is how you process and respond to everything going on around you. And sometimes that takes practice, sometimes that takes help. And sometimes that means, but, there are a lot of things. I literally think this book is about, don't sweat the small stuff. It just doesn't matter. I almost laugh because I just don't take myself that seriously. I don't think I'm important enough. And that's not coming from I have a lot of self-worth and value, but it's like my grandma Lyons. I have this grandma. She died a few years ago at 101. She was an old Irish granny, one of 21 kids, very cool, very supportive, thought the world of her girls, and but always kept us humble. And she would say, Julie, you're as good as the rest of them and better than none. And it stuck.
Exactly.
It stuck.
And it's important because we have to understand that we are no more important or less important than anyone else.
Exactly.
No matter who is out there, the billionaire on the yacht, the person who's begging for money, like no one is better or worse. Like we are all equal. And that neutrality, having that perspective, I think is also a great way to enter into every day. The gratitude, the ability to focus on what's most important, all of those things are just so great. But having that perspective of knowing that, you're as good as the rest of them, but
better than none. Better than none. Start singing to your kids. Grandma lives on.
I love it. These tips and tidbits. And I'm the oldest of 4 children. So I learned at an early age independence, right? I had, we did our own laundry, like starting from a young age. And I can remember university, literally friends, moms coming and cleaning apartments, doing laundry, these types of things, because they were used to always doing that.
Yes.
So I think these lessons, sometimes it's sprung out of, well, I can't do it for 6 children, right?
Right.
But,
exactly.
So sometimes we have to come up with these tips and these tricks,
for sure.
But we're helping our children in the long run. And so even if you have 1 children or 2, you don't have to make your way all the way up to 6 in order to learn these lessons. So this book that you've written, I think, is so helpful.
For sure. And I know, like, sometimes friends with singletons, some of my friends are like, I have to really try because it's easier just for me to do up his shoes and leave the house, because we get out fast. So they try really hard not to, because I'm like, well, I need to teach these kids do these things because I can't be doing, like that's how just, and I had to
6
laugh.
pairs of boots, 6 pants.
Yeah, 6, exactly.
Yeah.
There was this TikToker Insta story that went viral, and it was about this mom who landed in Florida to go on holiday, and she realized she hadn't packed for herself because she was busy packing for her family. And it went viral because it was like, moms do all the things, which I agree. Moms are doing all the things. We are the default parents. We take on the mother. We know statistically we're carrying the emotional load of parenthood, physical load, all that stuff. But I was like, her kids are 9 and 12. And I'm like, why would you pack your 9-year-old and 12-year-old's kids? I wouldn't even see what they had in Florida. So she didn't pack her own clothes because her fully capable grown-up children, mommy packed their things. So I just was like, interesting. Okay.
The lessons. Yes. The lessons here.
Yeah. Lessons. But I mean, we do. I mean, obviously, moms are still doing a lot of that, but it's time, you need to talk to your spouse about, what kind of democratic household you want, if that's what you want, and how that division of labor looks, and how to get involved in kids. Like, my youngest kid is 13, but they all do their own laundry. Like my 13-year-old does his own laundry. They pack their own lunches. Like, that's how it should be, because you know what? We have a lot of stuff to get done.
Well, it frees up so much.
We've got a lot of
time.
We got
stuff like that.
I got labels to make. I got speaking to do. I got to talk to you, and I want to spend time with them doing, good stuff. With the kids. I want it to be valuable time. I love spending. I love my kids. Yeah.
Julie, as we close, thank you so much for your time. This has been so amazing. I think you've given us so many great little nuggets here, but what advice do you have for the listener who might be in the position that you were in 20 years ago, with a career, perhaps with an idea or that spark or that inkling? They're scared to leave their job, or they're scared to take that next step. They're worried about their family. They don't know where to start. What is that advice that you would offer to them?
I think I'm going to go back to your network as your net worth. I mean, find yourself. There's like innovation factories. There are grants. There are like everyone has something to offer. We used our friends who were an accountant, who had a retail company. We used our neighborhood kids as babysitters. Like we just pulled from everyone we know. And in fact, true story and funny story, when we started Mabel's Labels, it's a web-based business, e-commerce business, right? That's 20 years ago. And at that time, there were still people who weren't putting the Visa in the computer machine, right? Like it was very new. And we weren't tech savvy, but we had some nerd friends from university, these couple of guys. And we're like, can you guys build us a website? But we have no money. And they're like, yeah, but you guys do have that foosball table. So we traded our first website for a foosball table from our nerd friends. So there you go. Everyone you know has something to offer. It might cost you a foosball table, but now we do $15 million a year in business based on the back of a foosball table.
There's one in my garage as we speak. Who can I call up? Oh
exactly.
Who can I call up? Oh my God. Julie, recovered lawyer, co-founder of this incredible, amazing business. Again, I just say though, thank you to you, to your sisters. It has made my life so much easier. It has allowed so many items to be returned to my household, mittens, sweaters, the whole bit, whole kit and caboodle. Thank you for simplifying the lives of so many families. I appreciate you and all that you've done. Award-winning entrepreneur, best-selling author, sought-after speaker, MC, the list goes on and on. What's next for Julie? What are you looking to the horizon, and what are you striving for now?
You know what? I'm just like in the mode of Mabel's, we're just having our 20th birthday. I'm still so involved in the company as a senior director and spokesperson. And I just want us to keep rolling out innovative products, great content, engaging with our community. We have like 250 Facebook fans and followers and Insta. Like we just love our community so much. 100,000. Right? Yeah, like 1,000. Yeah,
250 total.
No, 250,000. Like our community means everything to us. So like just staying innovative, staying fun. And with every product, with every bit of content, we're always thinking about how are we making mom's life easier? And we're just going to continue along that trajectory. And it's just been such a blast. Here's to the next 20.
Yes. I can't wait to see how it turns out. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
You made it. You listened through, and I hope you enjoyed this chat as much as I did. Julie has such a captivating energy. She is so helpful in the wisdom that she shares and that advice that is absolutely relatable, whether you're looking to motherhood, entrepreneurship, starting that side hustle, whether you have sisters-in-laws, if you're starting from the basement, or if you're ready just to think about a next project. I hope this episode was helpful for you. And if you did enjoy it, can you do me a favor? I would so appreciate if you could rate me a short and sweet review, and share it with a friend, someone who could use a dose of Julie's inspiration as well. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Juggle is Real podcast. I can't wait to see you for the next one. Take good care.